To seize control of the woman's body, the sheriff pulled her over under the pretext of a routine inspection and subjected her to a one-on-one search. He examined her for a full 40 minutes before finally letting Daisy get back into her car. Just as Daisy was about to drive away, the sheriff handed her a $10,000 ticket. Daisy, who had been accompanied by a pickpocket, was stunned by the amount. She couldn't help but question the sheriff, who immediately responded that the trash Daisy had casually tossed out while driving had damaged his patrol car, making the $10,000 fine perfectly reasonable. Daisy was utterly stunned, but stranded on the desolate highway, she had no choice but to accept the penalty. However, she didn't have that much money on her. The sheriff directed her to an ATM at a nearby restaurant to withdraw the money. Just as she turned to leave, he abruptly demanded her phone, claiming it was to prevent her from fleeing with the cash.
Isn't it against the law to take my phone?
Are you telling me the law in my own county?
Though she knew this was unreasonable, Daisy reluctantly handed over her phone under his threat. But before she had gone far, she saw in her rearview mirror that the sheriff had pulled out a shotgun. The bullet blew out her tire, sending the car careening out of control. It finally ground to a halt after crashing into a sand pile beside the highway. Daisy was utterly stunned, unable to comprehend why the sheriff had done this. But when she tremblingly stepped out of the vehicle, she was shocked again. The sheriff drove off in the opposite direction as if nothing had happened. Though still shaken, Daisy finally breathed a sigh of relief. But now her car was wrecked, and without a phone, she had no choice but to grab her backpack and set out on foot to find help. After walking for what felt like an eternity, she finally spotted a restaurant. The moment she stepped inside, her eyes fell on the loose change on a table. Her old habit as a thief kicked in, and without hesitation, she took the money. She then made her way to a payphone and called her boyfriend, hoping he would come pick her up. Little did she know, the sheriff was standing right outside the restaurant entrance, having already ordered her car to be towed over. Oblivious to this, Daisy continued recounting the incident to her boyfriend as the sheriff appeared behind her.
Gotcha.
Daisy jumped in fright. The sheriff explained she wouldn't have to pay a fine and that he'd even fixed her flat tire. She'd broken his siren light and he'd punctured her tire. That settled it. He returned her car keys and phone before leaving. When Daisy stepped outside, she saw the tire was indeed repaired. Just as she was about to drive off, she spotted the female clerk crying nearby. Daisy hurried over to ask what was wrong. The clerk explained that a customer's change had gone missing earlier, and the manager had accused her of stealing it, firing her on the spot. Daisy felt terribly awkward, knowing she was the one who had taken the money. Learning the clerk wanted to go home, Daisy offered to drive her. Together they set off, but before long, disaster struck again. The clerk was shot in the head. Terrified, Daisy burst into tears. Seeing police cars approaching, she frantically started the car and sped away. Before she could react, the sheriff was already in pursuit.